doctor, and they wanted someone to go up there. We went up and then made, out of her blankets, her whole house just collapsed around her, and she had fractured her left hip. We took her out. There were 4 other people that came out, but one woman we know perished in the blaze. We took her husband out, and actually the husband made it out by himself. The fireman had gotten away from the building, and the heat was just too intense. He dragged himself out in complete shock, and he knew his wife was dead, and that was it. And she was in this building right at the corner.
Right on the corner.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
All right, some dramatic eyewitness accounts of this tragedy, really, in the Marina District, and this fire is still burning uncontrolled and unfortunately spreading to nearby homes.
Okay, and we still have crews on the scene, and
yes,
we'll bring updates from that along. We're going to go to Kate Kelly in just a moment, but we do have some extremely sad news to report at this point. CBS has reported that the Lieutenant Governor of California has confirmed 40 people are dead in the Oakland area alone. Again, that's 40 people in the Oakland area. That comes from CBS News. The Lieutenant Governor has confirmed that. We'll go now to Kate Kelly, who has some earthquake experts with her to talk about the situation. Hello?
Lauren, we have an earthquake engineer, Dr. Victor Zayas, who is president of a company, Earthquake Protection System. Your job to go out, check buildings, and make them earthquake-proof, or at least consult them in that way?
Yes, as engineers, we specialize in helping building owners and other engineers design the buildings to be able to resist the earthquakes.
Now, you walked out after this particular earthquake in downtown San Francisco with your expert eye. What does it look like?
Yeah, well, one of the first things we did was get out to take a look at the buildings that we're familiar with and familiar with the design, and we were pleased to see that most of the newer buildings, especially the taller buildings, performed as we would have expected. There was glass breakage and glass falling down in the streets, but most of those buildings didn't seem to have any real building damage or structural damage.
Well, you hear earthquake-proof, and no building can be earthquake-proof, but they're designed to withstand what degree?
Well, the building code now approximately requires the buildings to be designed to resist about a magnitude 6 earthquake, and we expect buildings to be able to resist those earthquakes without much damage. Now, we're a distance of about 50 miles from the earthquake fault, so because we're so far from the fault, we would not have felt the earthquake anywhere near as strong. So we would expect most of the...
We're going to break away for a second, because speaking right now with Dan Rather is Lieutenant Governor Leo McCarthy.
Let's join that.
We know of, but the rubble is so bad that they still haven't got an accurate count of the number of fatalities, but there are at least 40 dead.
I want to get the picture here, Lieutenant Governor. This is Highway 880
That's right.
in Oakland.
That's
and
right.
As the earthquake hit, the highway just gave way, and a lot of people in individual cars, emphasizing you don't have any reports of people in buses, certainly not yet, were killed. More than 40 at that place alone.
That's correct.
That is not good news.
No, it's not.
The death toll, we believe at CBS News, Mark Well, Governor, that this is our report and not yours, would be that 40 plus 13 others for a known death toll now of 53, and perhaps more than that, because I believe I heard you say, Lieutenant Governor McCarthy, and correct me if you did not, that it may be over 40 people killed in that Highway 880 collapse in Oakland.
That's correct, Dan. They think it could be worse than 40, but that's all they've identified so far.
What else do you know, Lieutenant Governor?
Well, we're trying to confirm whether any other deaths around the Bay Area, and Dan, we don't have anything solid yet beyond the tragic news from Oakland.
Mm-hmm. And repeating, if necessary for emphasis, what are the important steps that people who are in the area of the earthquake should take, and what should they not do?
Stay home. Don't complicate the transportation glut that's out there. Please appreciate that the highways are not safe right now, that they're being inspected by state and local transportation agencies.
Lieutenant Governor, if you're near your television set, we're showing pictures here of Highway 101 in San Francisco. As you can see, several sections of that highway gave way.
Yes.
We have no reports yet. We have no reports there on deaths or injuries. As you're trying to do, we're trying to be very careful of telling people what we know and don't know. These other pictures are videotaped from earlier of damage in the San Francisco area. Lieutenant Governor McCarthy, we thank you for taking the time with us, and if we may impose on, we'd like to be back in touch with you again soon.
Okay, Dan.
Thanks very much for your help.
Surely.
Lieutenant Governor Leo McCarthy confirming what we'd heard earlier, that 40 people are believed dead at a minimum in the collapse of that Cypress Avenue freeway structure in Oakland, and the count of the dead is increasing in San Francisco and elsewhere. We've also heard that there are 6 dead in Santa Cruz in the collapse of the mall there. In Santa Cruz, which is one of the towns nearest to the epicenter, there are major downtown street and mall damage, and as we say, 6 dead. Let's go back to Tom Marshall now, who's at the Office of Emergency Services. Tom?
Okay, we have with us now Jim Drago of Caltrans. We heard from you a little while ago about the number of roads and bridges that are out in the Bay Area. Have you got any indication at this time how extensive the structural damage to the Bay Area, the Bay Bridge is?
Well, Tom, our structures experts are en route down to the Bay Area to fully assess the damage to the Bay Bridge and to the Nimitz Freeway 880. They seem to be the 2 worst. As it is, it's really going to be tough during the night to really get a handle on just how bad it is and how quickly we'll be able to effect repairs.
Rush hour for tomorrow, if there are attempts of people to go to work tomorrow, it's likely to be a nightmare.
Well, it's something that they better prepare to plan for plenty of time. It looks now that the Bay Bridge will not be in service, so that's, taking out a structure that handles 250,000 vehicles a day, so obviously the other routes are going to have to pick that up. We would urge that anyone who doesn't have to go in tomorrow to maybe make arrangements to stay close to home.
Thank you very much. And, of course, all of your guys will be at work tomorrow trying to assess the bridge.
Tom, our people will be out there through the night, our maintenance people, and doing what we can to effect the repairs as quickly as possible.
Thank you very much, Jim Drago of Caltrans. We just had a briefing a moment ago from the commander of the California National Guard. I can give you a couple of the salient points. We'll have that interview for you in a little while. Colonel Ron Bright told us that the entire 27,000-member California Air and Army National Guard has been put on standby alert. That's throughout the entire state of California. They've already had some requests for several units to be mobilized. They are medical units and emergency evacuation units. At this point, they have not set up any field hospitals in the Bay Area, but they will be using helicopters to evacuate the injured. This, again, to the National Guard spokesman. One of the groups that is being mobilized is the 126th Medical Company based at Mather Airfield here in Sacramento. They will be taking air ambulances and other emergency medical supplies into the Bay Area. We don't know at this point where specifically they will be deployed. In fact, they're still working that out now. They are having many of the Guard units from as far away as Los Angeles assembling in their Guard headquarters, getting their gear, getting their medical equipment, and getting ready to be deployed throughout the Bay Area throughout the evening tonight. As we get more information, we'll pass it on to you. We do have an interview that we'll be feeding to you in just a little while, but this is the latest information from OES headquarters here in Sacramento. Dick, Jennifer?
Thanks very much, Tom. We understand, too, although I have no idea what impact this might have, the tidal wave warnings have been issued. I don't know who is in danger of tidal waves or at this late date. Aftershocks continue regularly down there. They're fairly small, magnitude 1 and 2 on the Richter scale, but major aftershocks are still possible, too.
And, Dick, you were talking earlier about the sad fact that there have been fatalities, at least 40 in Oakland when a portion of 880 collapsed, and now the unofficial death toll is up to at least 53 people. Our own Dick Terry, a photographer here at KXTV Channel 10, was on the Oakland Bay Bridge during the earthquake and when a section of it collapsed, and we're going to rerun part of the interview that ran just a short while ago on KPIX. He is in San Francisco.
Everything back to us?
Yeah, well, what I did is I took the pictures in the lower level of the bridge. Then I headed back, and I saw a bridge worker coming down from the upper level. I walked up to the upper level. And got some more video from the upper level. And in the meantime, someone from back at Yobo Bueno Island had told the people to head east towards Oakland. And they told those people to head right towards the part of the bridge that...
toward the collapse.
Collapsed. And there was another car later on that headed into that area and basically tried to make it across the bridge and didn't. And I've got some video later on of them attempting a rescue of the person in that car.
Now the car, they went over the side?
Yes, not the side, but went into the area.
Went down into this crevasse.
From the upper level.
You know, we've heard reports of the Coast Guard circling around this area trying to see if anyone had been thrown off the bridge. Do you have anything to report on that?
Apparently, I saw a Coast Guard helicopter and rescue boats rescuing one person down below. Now, I don't know, whether that person was alive or not, but there was a person down there, and they were. Somebody was retrieved from the bay. All right, now in a moment, here we are on the upper deck now. Yeah. Okay, and that is the car that attempted to make it across the span of the bridge. It's the luck of the draw, just where you happen to be at the moment the earthquake hits. And there's the helicopter you said is searching for people in the bay. There appears to be somebody down there. John, just forward of the boats? Yes. Now, at the time, I didn't pay any attention to that because I was told that everybody was okay. Everybody had left. Okay, this is a Coast Guard helicopter attempting to aid the person in the car that fell into the span there. That's right beneath the car that we're seeing on the screen. Right. And so they came in and were able to lift that person out? No, eventually you'll see that... There's not enough open area for him to get in there, apparently. Apparently he did. He did? Apparently he did, yeah. He got in there, and there were some Caltrans people that also pulled up, as you can see. Oh, there. Now, that's tricky flying because you can see those light stanchions every so many feet, and if the rotor were to hit that would be the end of it all right there. So now the rescue crews are out. So I'm shooting across the span. I'm on the other side of the span. So you're on the San Francisco side, and you're looking now at the Oakland side. Yes, facing over. Now what? Now the helicopter will take off because it'll get out of the way of the rescue vehicles from Caltrans. It was basically the rescue. All right, Dick, we're going to leave you briefly. Well, as 6 in San.
Well, that was KXTV photographer Dick Terry, who was on the Oakland Bay Bridge when the earthquake hit.
That was earlier a recording of his experiences there as he reported it on KPIX. We are going to rejoin KPIX now to follow their coverage. They're on the scene, and we bring that to you now.
Damage came from fires that came after. So experts are really warning you to turn off the gas and to be very, very careful for down power lines and if you're lighting candles, to be very, very careful of that. If you've got flashlights, it's definitely a safer alternative because the fires are a concern.
If you're sitting in a dark house right now, obviously the temptation is to try and get light somehow, either a fireplace or candles. And as close as we can tell, that is the last thing that they would like you to do. We also mentioned just a little while ago that there is a sinkhole that's begun to develop on northbound 101 north of 3rd near Candlestick. Did you see that as you were coming?
No, because the way that we got back here as fast as we did in an hour and a half was we were going in little side streets. Do those lights mean anything like we're getting power back or anything? No, huh? We were taking little side streets, and so we were staying away from the main arterials because the traffic is absolutely packed. And of course, people were getting on the road from Candlestick not knowing until they got into their cars and started going that the Bay Bridge was closed. So there are a lot of people out there who don't know what's going on.
101 is now closed by that sinkhole. Okay, we might add a little while earlier ago, we told you about that sinkhole and told you that Highway 101 was still open. We are now receiving information that it is closed, as are many, many streets and highways throughout the Bay Area, and we might go ahead and update you on some of those right now because they are important. Highway 2